I don't even do anything, and I always get the thumbs up. But then when I go to try to get the thumbs up, it
We don't
never
get
works. Never works.
All right, guys, let's go. Ellie Hiller back on the show. We want to see if she survived election night, and and also, hey, how's the body? How's your back? We were really like sad when we didn't get to see you
I crash.
at Crash.
Yeah. Oh, I know. That crushed me. I texted y'all. Y'all were like the first people. I told y'all before I told JR, actually.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, I should probably tell him.
Priorities,
Yeah.
girl. You gotta tell the most important first.
My friends, yeah. No, so actually, I guess we'll just start out super hot. My back was like totally just a random thing at a competition. I heard it doing worm deadlifts, and so that's the sole reason I pulled out of Crash. But then I found out a week later that I was pregnant. So I'm 12 weeks pregnant right now.
Oh my God.
I know. So I haven't like announced it or anything. So breaking news.
Congratulations. Oh my God.
Y'all are awesome. Thank y'all.
That is so
Mom. Oh my
awesome.
gosh. Oh my God, I'm gonna cry.
Yep, she's about to
cry. Congratulations. That's amazing.
Y'all are
That's
so
so
nice.
cool.
Y'all have a better reaction than like my family. No, it was just like a weird, crazy series of events because I had pulled out a Crash, and then it was that week. So I pulled out on Monday, and then on Friday, I had no reason to take a pregnancy test. I was kind of like, I don't know why I'm doing this, but I had my nursing job that day, and so I was up at like 5 a.m. I was delirious, and I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna take a pregnancy test. And I did, and at 5 a.m. I was like, "Oh my gosh!" like
holy shit,
yeah. So I'm pumped. I think it's honestly, I've been thinking a lot about it, and it's really good timing too. I think with just the state of CrossFit, and not that that would matter. I'd be happy anyway, but I think after semifinals, I was just losing a little bit of interest anyway in the competitive scene, just for like a year maybe. I just wanted to kind of see how everything fleshed out, and so I think the timing is going to be really, really good. And then hopefully, if I can come back, if I'm healthy, I can come back to competition maybe the next year. So
absolutely.
Oh, I am so excited for you, girl. I'm so excited for your man. Like, I'm so excited for y'all.
So excited. Well, how
awesome.
are you feeling? So 12 weeks. How are you feeling? How's it been so far?
Yeah, I was telling someone the other day, I was humbled because I will be honest and say I probably secretly judged some people talking about morning sickness and how they, felt terrible. And I'm kind of like, okay, like just, push past it. But it's real. Like I've been humbled. The weirdest things are like I didn't want to eat anything healthy, which I really enjoy cooking, and I do nutrition for a living.
Yeah.
So like my only aversion were foods that I cooked. Like it didn't matter what I made. I was like, I would open up my fridge and like gag. And I'm like, what in the world? Like my husband was like, are you just trying to spend money? And I was like, no, I legitimately just can't eat anything I cook. So it was pretty bad the first 10, 11 weeks. And last week I started to turn a corner and really have a lot more energy. I can work out a lot more and actually eat healthy. So yeah.
I could not. I mean, I couldn't keep anything down. Like I couldn't even keep water down. Baby G definitely tried to suck the life out of me. Like I had a very tough pregnancy. But the first couple of months, like I could only eat a bagel. Like that's literally all I wanted was bagels. When I actually could keep things down. If Garrett cooked chicken, I was like, it smells so bad in this house. Like, can you stop cooking? So I very much was at that point where I was like, I need to eat something. So it's not always the best choices of what I could eat, but bagel with butter was the number one thing that I enjoyed, that I wanted, that I was able to eat. But I was like you, anything healthy that was cooked in this house was like, it doesn't smell good. It was awful.
I wonder why that is. It's like, why I hear that so common. Like, why is it healthy food that we're rejecting? Like, if we love healthy food, I don't know. It's just
I don't know. I mean, the only thing I can say is being pregnant is a crazy, wild ride, and your body is changing hormonally, physically. You're changing mentally and emotionally, and I just say that the hormone changes, I think the body just goes into survival, and you kind of do the best that you can. And some people, because I've heard stories that some people have seamless, no sickness. I don't know why they call it a morning sickness. It literally happened all day.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
But some people you hear that can still eat the same things as they did before. Some people follow the strict guidelines, about what you read, and you're not supposed to have this and you're not supposed to have that. And then other people like, I ate all of that and I was fine. You know what I mean? So it really, I don't know if there's like a cookie cutter way that we can like make it. But like, I think we just always do the best we can. Have you been able, I know you've been sick, but have you been able to like move your body and work out? You said you're feeling better now.
Yeah. And I really I forced myself to do something, not in an unhealthy way. I just feel, the only time I didn't feel sick was when I was working out, which was the weirdest thing.
Adrenaline,
but
baby.
if I just, like if I just started something, I felt so good. And then the minute I stopped working out, I felt like nauseous again. So it was cool to have that reprieve in something that I knew mentally would make me feel better as well. But yeah, so I would train, I would work out with a lot of people and just do like scaled down workouts and stuff. And that on top of just hard stopping competition, it was more of a mental shift than anything else. Being like, okay, I just came off semifinals and now I'm doing, scaled workouts. So, but now I'm getting back into like feeling a lot better. So
does hubby, I ran around like crazy trying to find her ginger, trying to find her anything that would help her stomach at all. Is hubby running around just trying to build you a nest?
What did he get me the other night? It was like the most random thing. And I try to use my asks very sparingly. Just maybe I feel bad, and like he would do it if I asked him, but it was like 9 o'clock the other night and I just had to have a Cheez-It, and I like never eat Cheez-Its. I don't know why, but I was like, can you please go to the store and get these? And he did. But it's just the most random things that I haven't thought about in 12 years. I'm like, why am I thinking of Cheez-Its? Like, I don't even, I've never liked those that much. So
getting at the lap, Ginger worked for the first kid, made my wife sick for the second kid.
One of our really good friends would bring me all of this like fresh ginger, like all of this holistic stuff. And I tried, I really, really tried. And I mean, I ended up having to get on medicine, like, because it was so bad. Like I couldn't keep anything down to try to help.
She lost weight.
Yeah.
She lost weight.
You're eating a bagel and butter. Yeah.
Yeah. And well, even just like, I couldn't keep liquids down. I could not stay hydrated. Like I had to go to the hospital, pump fluid, all that kind of stuff or whatever. So and she's a dear, dear friend of ours, and she tried, and she would bring me all this stuff and be there for me. And I'm like, you got to stop bringing me this shit. I can't. It's making me more sick. I can't.
Yeah, you eventually just got to say it. And they'll I didn't know ginger. Maybe I've kind of wanted to diet ginger ale recently, so maybe I need to look into that. I didn't know about ginger. So.
Yeah, it's supposed to help like with the nausea.
It didn't help her, but it's supposed to do something.
Placebo, maybe.
Maybe.
Cheez-Its. Yeah, that I wanted Cheez-Its while she was pregnant. She didn't want Cheez-Its, but I
y'all know. I listened. It was actually funny enough, Charlie Kirk that was saying this. I was just listening to one of his podcasts, and he was talking about how he gained like 30 pounds over the course of his wife's pregnancy because he was eating like everything that she wanted, and it was almost just this support thing. He felt like he needed to, like, he was pregnant too. I was like, that is so funny. I told Sean to watch out.
It's a crazy feeling, like for us. It just watching you guys go through it, and obviously it's little similar to you two, but it's insane watching your wife grow a person. Has he because I used to put my head on, like my ear on her belly, and I could just hear like the waves, like it just sounded like waves moving around. I used to do that all the time before they start moving. Once they start moving, they kick you in the face. But
what? It's that strong?
Yeah.
You could
now he would just hear my small intestines grumbling, but hopefully in a few weeks there'll be something to listen to. But Colleen, were you really super bloated at night? Like I look 30 weeks pregnant at night, but in the morning I don't even look like I'm pregnant.
No, that's how I feel now, not pregnant. No, I don't. I mean, as much as Garrett will tell you that I didn't look pregnant, I felt bloated all the time. Like I felt like you could see that I was pregnant the entire time. But
nope, she's hot. She was hot the entire time. And, I mean, hips, like whatever happens, whatever hormones you guys get when you get pregnant, you guys like.
I mean, I will say I was a front baby, so I literally gained it all in my stomach and my boobs. My boobs got huge. Yeah. My stomach blew up probably the first or the last like what 6 weeks, maybe 5 weeks or whatever is when I started to really get big, and then that first or that last week and a half right before I had him, then I was fucking huge.
You're like ready, get him out.
So I was on bed rest. He put me on bed rest. I mean, like I love our son, and he took his time. He took his time coming into this world, and he almost took my life when he was trying to come. I mean, he tried to suck the life out of me. I had a very difficult pregnancy, and very grateful for it because I love him to death. He is the best. But super sick. And then I was on bed rest. And so then when I got off of bed rest, I would walk every day. Because once I got the clear to get up and move, I was I need to get this baby out. And then he chose to hang out until 2 days before my due date. And that was it. Came at 4:30 in the morning, I think is when I had him.
Did you do C-section or
no?
Okay.
No. So I did
that baby came out, and you can finish this story.
Yeah, go ahead.
But I'm telling you, it was like 3 actual pushes, and that baby came like flying out.
That's a precipitous birth. I think that's what it's called. Like a super fast, like a precipitous birth. It's super fast. I don't know how long you pushed, but if the baby comes that fast,
3 times she pushed. I think
within what, like 20 minutes, 15 minutes, maybe.
You were in labor for a while.
I was in labor for a while.
She pushed. It was like 3 pushes.
So when I started to push the right way, so we tried a couple times and I wasn't pushing the right way. He's like, you gotta, you have to bear down. You have to push down. And I'm like, I'm trying, but I feel like I'm going to poop. He's like, you're not going to poop. And even if you do poop, it's okay.
Everyone's worst fear.
I told Garrett, I'm like, I'm about to poop. She's like, you're not gonna poop. It's okay.
If you do, I won't tell you.
It's also okay. So I tried a couple times, and then he left. The doctor left, and then came back. And then when he came back the second time, I pushed a couple times, and then the baby was out. So I had an epidural. So what it was is the day that I went to the hospital, I went for my walk, and I would just walk from town. Aw. Oh my God, that was so
how many weeks is that?
That was March.
So he had a month.
Okay. Yeah, little less than a month. I think that was the end of March when we.
Dang, you wouldn't even know you were pregnant from the back. Like you literally just had a.
That's what I'm saying. I was all baby, all front. Yeah. My boobs got huge. My stomach got huge, and that was it. I didn't fill out in the back at all.
Yeah.
So I was out for my walk, and I would just walk like down the street from where we live into town and whatever. Oh, yeah, it's gonna make me cry. I love all these pictures. So this is not helping this idea that I want another baby. I'm just letting you know. So I've been having the itch. I've been seeing a lot of pregnant women walking around and little babies walking around, and I'm like, hey, I think I want another one. She's like, I just got you a puppy. Relax.
Yeah.
So went walking and then almost got stuck in town because I was in so much pain. But I just thought it was hip pain. So you have to remember, as he was growing, the way he was sitting is I had an intense right hip pain while I was pregnant. And me telling you these stories, I'm not trying to scare you. It is a beautiful thing being
awesome.
pregnant. Like it's amazing.
So,
you won't.
So extreme hip pain. And then especially as I got really, really big at the last couple of weeks, like excruciating pain. So I just thought like, I'm really in pain, but didn't think anything of it. Went home, told her, was like, hey, I'm feeling really shitty. I'm going to go upstairs and relax. Texted her a little bit later. I was like, I'm not going to be able to chill until I have a doctor physically touch me. Like I need to get checked and everything like that. Called our doctor. Of course, you can't get a hold of your primary care doctor. So we had to go to the hospital. Go to the hospital. By the time we get there, they check me. I haven't dilated any more than I did back when I was on bed rest. So I was like 2 centimeters dilated back when I was on bed rest. I'd been dilated like that for a couple weeks. They were like, you got to wait for the doctor anyway. So just hang out. Now I'm not in pain. We're walking around. Garrett and I are dancing in the halls, talking to the nurses, hanging out.
We did the wobble.
We were doing the wobble. All these things, hanging out. I'm like, this was a waste of time. And she's like, it's not. It's fine. We'll get checked. Within that hour, I dilated a full centimeter. So I was pretty much getting ready to be in active labor.
Yeah.
Doctor said, you can go home, come back. You're probably going to, you know, go into complete labor about 4:00 in the morning, or you can stay. We'll break your water and whatever. I'm like, I looked at her. I'm like, I'm not fucking going home. There's no way I'm going home. So I
didn't want to
stay.
either.
She runs home to take care of the dogs and to grab my bag because we didn't pack anything or we didn't bring anything. We thought it was going to be a quick check. 5 minutes after she left, they popped my water. I was like, oh, I'm in labor right now. They broke my water and I can feel everything. So you need to get back here fast.
Oh, I bet. Wait, why did they usually they just, why did they do that? Like just to induce labor instead of giving you
labor. Yep.
Pitocin? Okay.
Yeah. He was like, I can break your water now to increase labor and to like kickstart labor, or we can wait it out and whatever. And I was like, well, I'm already here, so I might as well stay here. I didn't think he was going to do it right then. I thought he was going to wait a little bit and see if I progressed on my own. And then if I still hadn't by a certain dilation, then he would have popped my water. And he did not. He popped it immediately. In labor, got the epidural wore off. I felt everything. He almost ripped me in two. But he was here and beautiful and healthy, and it was great.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, it just brings up so many things to think about. Like, do you want epidural? Do you not? Like, just so many things. So,
are you guys trying to, here, this is how fun it is afterwards. So
Day
fun.
2, mushy.
Yeah. Mushy face.
Oh my gosh. So precious.
It's really cool.
He is so cool.
She was fine. I was a panicked mess. I'm sitting there like, oh my God. And you watch it happen. You're like, holy crap. But it's really cool. Like cutting the cord, the whole thing. Are you even thinking or entertaining a home birth or?
That's really funny you say that, because I never would have thought I would even think about that. The problem in Alabama is we don't have birthing centers, which if we had that, I would 100% just go there, like the intermediary between a hospital and home. But I've talked to a lot of people who did home births and they absolutely loved it. I just don't. I'll have to think more about it, because in my mind, I'm just like, I don't love the idea of people knowing I like birthed my baby on this floor right here. But it doesn't. That's more of like a personal problem. I could get through that. So I don't know. If I just was linear, like clear thinking, not about everything, I would love to do it naturally. But I just know that's a tall task. So
Tyler Watkins, get Ellie to sanctionals. This is my new battle cry.
No, it's still. He said Ellie's pregnant.
Battle cry over. Yes. Yes. You heard it here first.
Battle cry over.
Tyler Watkins,
2026. Yeah. The next year.
So you work in the medical field. You what are your now being pregnant, are you starting to look at the medical field differently than you do as working there?
Yeah, I mean, that kind of started for me in COVID, viewing the medical field differently. That was a big reason I left my job. Just personally, a little distrust in the healthcare system. And I think it's important, and they do a lot of good, but that started for me in 2020. But now that I'm pregnant, I think I know this is controversial, but you just look at even the numbers and I'm like, okay, the number of C-sections at most hospitals seems a little absurd to me. Right. And if you follow the money, a lot of times you do get paid. The hospital does get paid more for a C-section. Now, is that necessary in a lot of circumstances? Yes. And is it, it's probably a lot of times the doctor just hedging their bets and saying, yeah, it might not be absolutely necessary, but it's just safer to go ahead and take them to C-section. Yeah, I get that. And I can look at it objectively and say it's not always, I think, this money intent, but it's hard for me I don't fully trust the system and say, okay, like I 100% have to have a C-section. I don't trust that. I think I would probably get taken to have a C-section, with maybe a 75% chance. And for me, that is what's making me want to do it, not at the hospital. But I know that's controversial, but I think it's just kind of the state of health care. I just
I think a lot of people, and especially women, are challenging the healthcare system, especially when it comes to women's health. I mean, I have a great friend. She had to experience 2 miscarriages. She'd been on birth, and I'm only sharing this because she speaks very, very openly about this.
Yeah.
She was on birth control for a majority of her life, got on it when she was a young teen, maybe 13, 14, for being diagnosed of PCOS, which was actually not true. It was a wrong diagnosis. She does not have PCOS, but she had been on birth control. And every time that she went to like renew it, they're like, yeah, just stay on it. It's great for you. Just you're doing everything's good about it, whatever. So she got pregnant first, had a miscarriage, went to the doctor and said, I don't want to experience this again. What can we change? And then got pregnant again, had a second miscarriage, and then went again to her doctor. I'm like, okay, what's next? I've had 2.
Yeah.
And they literally told her, you have to have 1 more miscarriage before we can even start doing blood work, hormone testing, and everything like that. And for her, she's like, fuck that. So she completely has taken control of her life, changed her, worked with a doctor, non-conventional doctor, changed her, got her hormones checked. I mean, she didn't have a regular period for like over, and don't call me, but like close to like 100 days. Like it was insane what her body had to almost detox all of the chemicals that she'd been putting in her body with the birth control. Thankfully, she's had a beautiful son, absolutely incredible. But she's one of those women that are now completely challenging the conventional medicine for women of ask more questions, because that's something, not saying that I'm like you, not saying that I would necessarily have done a home birth, but I think that without the pushing of certain things and the way that they say things, like one of the things for me is that they scared me into having a flu shot. They're like, you have a baby, you have to have a flu shot, because if you get the flu, like essentially you could kill your baby. And I was like, I have worked too hard to get pregnant with this baby. Like there's no way that I'm going to do anything. And then I ended up getting the flu anyways. So these scare tactics that they do for you. And so a lot of women are challenging the system of, this doesn't make sense to me. So you say a lot of things like understanding that the conversation is, maybe in this moment, a C-section is the safest for you in this moment.
Yeah.
But I think the bigger conversation and what we're missing is what happens after. So you might have the C-section, but then you go home with this brand new baby. The doctor's like, okay, not my problem anymore. What happens after?
Yeah.
Is always my question.
Yeah. And the thing that really just bothers me more than anything is if you can freely ask a question as the woman that, or the, the person, if it's your baby and you're asking a question, that question shouldn't trigger a doctor, or like if you ask why this vaccine is important, not because you're not going to give it to them, just because you want to know, and they get upset, that to me is really concerning. And that's what gives me a lack of trust. Not that I think there's ill intent. It's just, why is it wrong to ask questions about things? That's what scares me more than anything, or even just bringing up to my doctor that I don't want a C-section. And the fact that is like ruffling feathers is weird to me.
We just went, well, I thought we were coming on to talk about the election, but
we'll get there. Don't worry. You know
news.
her. She came in ready to talk.
Well, no, because you just brought this up about, and we saw the media, right? They played a giant role in fear mongering and making everybody afraid and vote the way that we want you to vote because you're scared. Have you ever fallen for any of that? Have you ever been like, oh my God, I thought this, like the world was going to crumble, but now I see it's not going to crumble. So
yeah, like with medicine.
Yeah.
Well, I didn't get the vaccine. But I mean, I was close. A lot of my family did, and we all have very similar beliefs. And it was, my husband, as a physical therapist, doctors stopped sending him patients, and he's an independent, physical therapy. Like he has his own business, and they were just like, no, we're not sending you people, and this is his livelihood. And so he got it because he's like, I mean, we have to survive. And so like I saw the fear, like that him having to do something he didn't want to do, but he felt like he had to, because it was being like forced on him, and then personally, I'm trying to think, I was thankfully never on hormonal birth control. But, and I'm not going to go on this tangent, but I think it's good for some people. Some people definitely need to be on it. But now I think you see the pendulum swing almost the complete opposite way, where now people are like, birth control is terrible. It makes you like not have infertile and all this stuff. And I think we need to meet somewhere in the middle. But that's another thing that I'm glad. I was really pressured at certain points, like, oh, you have breakouts, you need to be on birth control.
That's crazy for acne.
Yeah, that's
for
again,
acne.
those are the questions that I'm like, for acne.
Just get acne and go through it like we all do.
Yeah, but I'm like, also, why aren't y'all asking me what I eat? Like, and I found out later it was cheese that, I mean, dairy was made my face break out. But it was just weird that birth control was the first thing. And thankfully I wasn't sexually active, so I didn't need to get on it. But, you know, some people do. And so it's just, that's another area where it was just like pressure. Like, you need to be on this. It's like, I mean, is there not like a in between? So I don't know. That I can't think of an example other than those two. But
we're here. This is one that kind of goes to that. Bernie, hey, what's up, dude? Ellie, have you given consideration to the schedule of vaccines that they automatically give newborns?
A ton. Thought about that a ton. Yeah. And I haven't landed on anything yet, but you know, it's just I'm just thinking through, okay, is it necessary to get them all at one time? Or like, why can't you spread them out a little more? And like, just explain to me why this one's really important. Like, okay, polio, get it. Yes, that great.
Measles,
I understand.
Great. Fantastic.
Measles. Yeah. Yes, I understand why that is so important. Why, if I don't have an STD, do I need to rub cream on my baby's eye if I don't have an STD? Because like, to prevent them from getting it. Like, so and like, I'm not saying I'm not doing that one. I'm just asking questions, and I need to do a lot more research. But you know, I get it. People say daycare. Okay, your kid's in daycare. Well, if my child is not going to go to daycare, then okay, does it not become important anymore? Mm-hmm. And I've heard people say, oh, well, they're going to trip and fall on a needle in the playground. And I'm just like, okay, well then at that point, I'm probably going to hedge my bets on the side of them not tripping and falling. And if they do, then that's just something I'm going to have to cross when I get there. But if everything is pointing 90% in the other direction, then I'm probably not going to go in the 10% direction. So I don't know if that makes sense, but that's just stuff I'm thinking through. I just want to know why. And someone just explain it to me.
Yeah. And I think that is the bigger picture is when there is such a push for one thing, like if there's such a push for so many things or one specific thing, like, where's the catch? Mm-hmm. And I'm not saying, and I'm like you, I'm not saying everything necessarily has a catch, but there's an obsession with something so extreme from so many people. Mm-hmm. Let me look into it a little bit more. Let me ask a little bit more questions. And that's literally where like I'm personally coming from now, is just asking more questions. The hardest part is like, where are you going to find the actual information? Because you go online and you have 100 people that are going to say one thing, and then you have 100 other people that are going to say the complete opposite. It's like, where do you find your actual truths in what is, especially in medicine, especially around children, especially around these vaccines and something? Because that was something that, and Garrett and I were talking about this a little bit earlier, whatever, is that we did give G many of the vaccines when he first was born, but she pointed something out to me, and I love her for it because she remembers a lot more things than I do from when he was a baby, is that we did spread them out. I don't remember ever being in the room and him getting like 6 shots at once. We never did that. And if they're like, hey, he needs to have 3, I'm like, how about 2? Yeah. How about, or 1? Like, we're not doing this whole thing or whatever. But yeah, it's like, are you asking more questions to your peers that are in the medical field with you that might be in like, do you have anybody in specifically women's fertility, OBG? Like, do you have anybody specific in those areas where you're like asking more questions of like, hey, I know I'm newly pregnant and freaking out, but can you answer my questions for me?
The funniest thing to me is I'm not making a statement on if I am or am not vaccinating because I don't know yet, but the majority of people I know that do not do all the vaccines or all of them on the regular schedule are nurses with kids.
Oh, really? Interesting.
Okay.
Why is that? I can't tell you. But that to me is weird. So
it's the same thing as teachers that teach in public schools but don't send their children.
They homeschool their kids.
or at least to the public school
Or
that
Catholics,
they are teaching at.
It's the same
Very
reason
interesting to me. Yeah.
my friend who worked at fast food won't eat there because they know you drop the burger on the ground, you put it back on the plate. It's just, I mean, you see everything, and I'm, you know, I don't think these nurses necessarily have seen anything related to vaccines that would make them not want to vaccinate their kid. I think they're just the ones that understand informed consent and really are like, I have to have it. Like, give me the actual information and that's how medicine should work, is letting the patient, giving them the information they need to know, letting them go home and make the decision that they think is best for their family, not sending out propaganda, fear mongering them, and totally withholding informed consent. That is where I think healthcare was going in the 2020 early 2020s, and people realize it, and now they're going full blown the opposite direction, which maybe is a little too far, and hopefully we come a little bit more center in the next few years. But I don't blame them. I would run away too, you know.
Oh, I think the people basically just said that they want it to come back center with the election results. How was that for you? Did you watch it? Did you stay up all night and watch it? Were you guys that family?
We went to a watch party and we stayed. Awesome. It was so fun. I also was like, how do y'all know that who you invited actually is
like, we're all okay,
like
right
everybody's gonna be okay?
Yeah. No one accidentally showed up that thought it was gonna be for Kamala, or however you say her name. But no, yeah, we were at the watch party till about 11, and honestly, it felt like he was gonna win. I just was like, you know what? I feel at a peace about this because I stayed up in or when Hillary Clinton in 2016. I stayed up that year because I like wanted to know everything, and then we didn't know until 2 weeks later or whatever.
Right.
But I just once he won Pennsylvania, I had it. I just like, you know what? He's gonna win, and I went to bed and I woke up and he won. So
by a lot. By a lot.
Yeah.
Like, were you surprised that he won by as much as he won by?
Yeah. And I was going to ask you all this. I was shocked that he won the popular vote. First of all, I thought that was absolutely crazy. Just because it confirmed to me again, there's 100% a silent majority. People are terrified to say that they voted for him. They are so scared, and then they go and vote for him. And I was really interested in I was kind of just looking at some of the stats, and it was really interesting to me. Number one, it was the Hispanic Latino vote. The fact that he flipped that completely was insane. So I was going to ask what y'all's thoughts were on that. Like Starr County, for example, which borders Mexico and Texas, Hillary Clinton won that by a large margin, and then Trump won it. I think he had like 57%. So he completely like flipped a county that is 97% Hispanic Latino. So that was interesting to me. But I think he just is in my mind, he's just a populist by nature. He appealed to the common person, and just really, regardless of if you don't like him, if you hate his rhetoric, I think you could still vote for him and be like, it's okay. He's not my dad. He's not my pastor. He's literally just leading the country, and I can get on board with the policies and really still not like the man. And, that's where a lot of my friends fell. It's like, I actually don't like Trump, but I really like his policies,
Yeah, I'll answer that in a second. Hold on. Most of us here attended the Glinton watch party. Yeah, thank you guys.
Appreciate you guys.
That was fun. That was my first time ever trying to do that. It was a good time. But yeah, I talked to a lot of my Latino friends, and a lot of them just said like, hey, we came through the door the right way. We did all the paperwork. It took us years and years and years to become citizens. I still have family members that aren't citizens, and they're still waiting to become citizens. And it's been like a decade, but they pay taxes, and they just work hard and pay taxes, and they're not citizens yet. And now all these other people are coming in, and they're getting right to work and all this stuff that they didn't,
hotels, money, that they green cards get immediately.
And they're like, no, screw that. I worked hard to get into this country. I worked hard to be a citizen. I worked hard to be here. And no, you can't just walk in on day one and get however much money and whatever. That was the consensus I got from the friends that I have.
Yeah. What do y'all think though changed between 2016 and 2024 because was Hillary, she wasn't she was pretty loose on immigration or illegal immigration, right?
She was, a little bit. She was moderate. She's a wackadoodle. All her Russian like claiming that, you know, Trump was a Russian plant and all. And Tulsi, didn't she even claim, I feel like she claimed Tulsi Gabbard was a Russian plant back then.
Yep.
Oh my gosh. One thing, I'm obsessed with Tulsi Gabbard. I don't know all her policies, but I think she's the coolest person ever. And a lot of my family
people are saying she's going to be the first woman president. Watch.
I would freaking love that. I think a lot of conservatives maybe still don't like fully trust her. They're kind of like, is she a grifter? And I'm like, y'all, she left the Democratic Party way before all this happened.
They bullied her. They bullied her. She wouldn't fall into line, and they bullied her, and she was like, yo, I'm out.
Mm-hmm.
Even Nikki Haley straight up bullied her the other day, like calling her a Russian asset and just like lighting her up. I was like, are you kidding me? Like, what did you do
didn't she
wrong?
go on The View? Didn't Joy do that to her too?
Yeah, they tried to mess her up on The View.
And they wanted to ask her different things, and she's like, well, since I'm here, let me correct something that apparently has been said about me. And she starts to, and Joy starts to interject. And like, I hate when they do that, where they like touch your arm, almost like it's okay, sweetie, don't. And I'm like, stop. Like, you are grown women, stop touching each other. Like, she's trying to have a legit, serious conversation. Like, stop treating her like a child.
Hold on one second. Kenneth, Big Mike still has the best chance. No fucking way.
Who's that?
Way. Big Mike, Michelle Obama.
Oh.
I know.
No.
I know.
No way. Not after this year's vote. There's no way. Bernie. No, go ahead.
Go ahead. No, I was going to ask y'all on that note, how do y'all think the Democratic Party is going to compensate? I mean, they obviously see what happened. Okay, we're clearly too extreme. Do you think they're going to try to compensate and maybe take out some of their wacko policies to try to become a little bit more relatable?
I hope so, but right now, I don't even think that they're acknowledging that that was the reason why they lost. Really? I've watched a lot of podcasts with a liberal host and a conservative host. And the conservative hosts are trying to explain, hey, men and women's sports, men and women's bathrooms, transing kids, like this was a table issue this year. And they're like, no, the liberal hosts are like, no, that wasn't even, nobody cared about that. It doesn't affect anyone. They're not even looking at it.
No, they're still was it deflecting?
Yeah.
Or pointing the blame. They're still saying it's because everybody is saying, or the left is saying that like the reason everybody voted for Trump is because they're either misogynistic, they're homophobic, they're transphobic, they're all that stuff. And it was on The View, the blonde girl and then the other girl that sits next to Sunny on the left side was like 70 something million people are all misogynistic and homophobic and transphobic, every single one of them. And she's just like, yes. And I'm like, okay.
Yeah, they're not taking a good look at that point at all. And I personally feel like that changed when you start saying, hey, don't tell parents about what their kids are doing in school. Don't tell parents, they're our children. They're not your children. What? I'm sorry. Like, no, absolutely not. Yeah. And I feel like they didn't take it seriously. They didn't take any of that seriously. They're just like, no, nobody cares about that. And it's like, wait, actually, we freaking do care about that.
When it comes to my kid?
Tyler Watkins. Yep. I'm hopeful for Tulsi, but she has said some crazy stuff. I got my eye on her. Bernie, this was funny. When I listen to Tulsi on videos, I set the playback speed to 2 times to simulate her talking at a normal pace. Okay, fine. I see it.
Well, I think that Tyler Watkins' point about keeping an eye on her, I think that is a very good thing.
Yeah.
I think for a while we got into these just follow suit. And I'm very guilty of this because I was supposed to check all these boxes, especially when I came out, and I realized with more talking about all of this and having conversations and taking the glasses off and whatever, like I was leading my life with my sexuality. I'm always like, stay out of my bedroom. But I'm like,
let me tell you about my bedroom.
Let me tell you all the things about my bedroom. And when I realized that, and it literally was on one of the podcasts, I was like, holy shit. Now that's not what I'm leading with. Do I want rights to be taken away? Absolutely not. Do I want people to be judged because of who they sleep with? Absolutely not. Leave everybody alone. Be respectful. Have protections for everybody. You know what I mean? But like, when you stop leading one way and you stop following suit, all of a sudden it's like you're listening to other things. And I think it's a good thing that we're paying more attention all around. Like don't just listen to the good things that someone says. Listen to all of what someone says to really see where they are so that you can make those
we learned that with
choices
Trump.
and decisions on your own. That real critical thinking, that real individualized thinking that we all have the freedom to do, but have really been just really believing. And I think it goes to this whole idea of celebrities too. Like some people are so obsessed with celebrities, and I'm like, a celebrity is taking away your own reasoning to think. I don't understand that. And I think once that whole statement of like, I've got an eye on her, I see this, I'm hearing this, I'm hopeful that that is a positive that comes out of all of this craziness that's been going on.
When a celebrity endorses someone, it tells me who I don't want to be my president, because they're so out of touch with reality. And it makes me so mad that they're in their little bubble acting like they understand what it's like to own a business and be taxed like out the wazoo, and you're paying $12 for eggs and all this stuff. And it's just like, you don't understand the life of a normal American. Don't tell me that abortion is the single most important thing that I need to be voting on right now, when Trump isn't even against it. Like, yeah. I'm sorry, but like that bothered me too. Like, I'm extremely pro-life, but you have to be very ignorant to look at him and say he's 100% pro-life. He's not. Like,
he's not. Never has been.
Never has been. He wants to send it back to the states, but people fell for it, and every single time they just fall for the lies because Beyonce says it. And I'm like, oh my gosh, like we're so dumb. Like this is like,
what was your number one? What was your number one this year?
I mean, I'm very extremely pro-life, but I would say that made it really kind of off the table because Trump is not.
You can't do it. Yeah.
Yeah, but it's definitely the lesser of two evils for sure. And regardless of my religious beliefs, I truly am a fan of sending things back to the states because you have the autonomy to move wherever you want. I know that that's not always super easy, but just send it back to I don't want the federal government in everything, like personally. But I guess one of my biggest issues is I actually personally like Trump. I think he's funny, but back to what I said about he's not our dad, our pastor, or like anything else.
He's not dating your daughter.
He's not dating our daughter.
Right.
A crap if he was like promiscuous. Like that's his problem. You know, it's just like, I don't care. He's a businessman, and he will hopefully help the economy a lot better than Kamala. And that was my biggest thing is, you know, as a business owner and,
well, she only ran on two things. She ran on Roe v. Wade, and she ran on the rhetoric or the Jan 6, he's an existential threat to democracy. Yes. That was all she ran on. That was it.
What policy other than abortion? Like truly, she said his name 97 times in an interview. And it's like, they asked her to even cite some of her policies multiple times. And she was like, go to KamalaHarris.com. You don't even know your own policies and you can't articulate them. Like, actually tell us what an opportunity economy is. You actually don't know. I don't know. No one knows. You know, it's just
knows. Yeah.
It's just, yeah. So, and I'm not trying to be rude. It was just, to me, I haven't been this crazy Republican my whole life. I just feel like this is a very common sense. To me, it was a very common sense.
Would you have voted for a Democrat if he was a moderate Democrat? Like if he was a normal sense moderate Democrat, would you have voted for a common sense normal Democrat?
It would totally come down to the policies, because I'm so sick of like people saying they're Republican and Democrat, and like Mitt Romney, he was not a Republican. I mean, he's so establishment. He's a Democrat, but he ran as an Republican. Yeah. You know, so I think I don't even look at the title. I'm just like, show me your policies and I'll vote for you if I think they're good. So
yeah, he's not the savior of US justice, dude. Yeah, no, he's not. It's just we're just like, you can't go any further left. Like we can't take it. You can't just tell us that we're stupid and racist and misogynistic and like whatever all day when you're letting dudes beat up girls in women's sports. Like it's just, you just can't. And I hope they figure out. I voted Democrat for most of my life. Mm-hmm. And then, you know, we did the flip in 2021, 2022. And now it's like, hey, I just need people to start coming back to the middle. And yeah, it depends on what your policy is, but I just need you to chill out a little bit. Like,
well, I wanted to go back and circle back to the question that you kind of asked, Elle, is that like what do you think changed for the Latino and Hispanic community between 2016 and now it going the other way extremely to in 2024. And my question to both of you is, do you think that in 2016, the idea of open borders and allowing everybody to come in gave this fantasy of all families being able to come in here and so many more of the family members being able to leave all of these awful situations, and it was going to be easier for families to come here and have the American dream and all that type of stuff. And then now what actually changed between that and 2024, when they literally were letting anybody and everybody and anybody in, didn't matter if they, well, hold on. Maybe like in 2016, like some of the restrictions were taken back, so it was a little bit easier. But then opening and having complete borders, everybody got to see like what that actually is, and it's not so much a fantasy anymore. They realize what reality was.
So here, I think,
sorry, I kind of like
no, here, I think what you're trying to say is that when Trump said like, hey, they're sending all the bad people here, right? When he ran the first time and people got up in arms because he was like, you're sending all the bad people, you're sending all the, the gangs and the whatever. And we're like, no, he's like, no, they're not, whatever, screw that. Let the border open, let people come and have, like Kenneth says, the American dream. And then, it turned into American handouts, but we were in our minds, we were like, no, that's not happening. They're not emptying jail cells and sending, all their deplorables, blah, blah, here. You know what I mean? But then we started to literally see, what is it? The tren de agua, shit, I forgot the third word, but you started to see these gangs like operating around in your cities, in your states. Like, people started getting murdered. People started getting shot. Cops started getting beaten up. And then you started to see it with your own eyes. And you're like, oh, no, they did do that.
Yeah.
Dude, eating the cats and dogs was hilarious.
That jingle
was still funny.
Still slaps.
Funny.
That jingle still slaps. I don't care what anybody says.
That is true.
Still funny.
It just sucks that like the people that are conservative have to run on fixing all of the crap that is now existing from the policies, like for example the mass immigration. Now Trump has to talk about mass deportations, which sucks. Like that is like, it's necessary, it has to happen, but like that is really sad if people that have now built a life here, even though it's illegally, like I don't agree with it, but now it's like we wouldn't have to do this really sad thing if you hadn't done that crap in the first place, And it's just like, do you not think more than 4 years in advance, like when you're a Democrat, like, or a very liberal, like extremely liberal on immigration and stuff like that? Same thing. Look at California. I mean, did they not see that this homelessness crisis was going to continue to become? Yeah, and then like you literally can't control it at a certain point. And you have to do. Yeah, you have to do drastic things.
Awful.
Yeah, it's terrible. And so, I think that people think Republicans are the worst because of mass deportations, and it's like we never would have wanted to do that, unless like you just open up the border to anyone and everyone.
And also, nobody had a problem with trans people. No, not anybody. Nobody was talking about it. Not one person was freaking talking about it. Nobody cared. Everyone was like, live your life, do your thing. Whatever.
As long as you're not in my bathroom with my young girl. Like,
stop teaching this shit to my kid in school.
Yeah.
Stop it.
That Nancy Mace girl that's under a lot of controversy right now, the congresswoman, she said something, and I just thought it was really well said. It was just on the whole trans issue. It was just like, at what point does the rights of a transgender person supersede the right of a woman? And it's like, I don't care if you want to live your life and become
however
transgender, right? But now you're actually elevating their rights over women in sports, women who are fighting for a spot on a collegiate team, women who have struggled with PTSD from rape, and now they have a man in their bathroom. It's just, it's so clear that you're elevating someone else's rights and you're choosing. And to me, that's just a really straightforward thing. Like, I don't care if you're trans, like, live your life, but just don't make your rights more important.
Right. That's why I always find it funny when they're always telling you like, hey, the left is always, or the progressive left is always like, hey, We're the ones over here fighting for women's rights. Did we what? Like, we didn't lose any.
Feminism.
What just happened? You're the ones that took women's rights. You're the ones that are stomping on women's rights.
And
like,
if you didn't vote for the Democrats, that you were not.
They're out there calling women misogynistic right now.
Mm-hmm.
My favorite meme is like Trump's face, and it was like misogynistic, all this stuff, and it's like 6 women that he just appointed to his cabinet around him. And I was like, that is, I mean,
like,
stop calling it misogynistic.
You can't call a woman misogynistic. No, I'm just kidding. I've fought for that too. I think women can be misogynistic, but it's kind of ridiculous. Like, you're the ones that are trying to put men in women's spaces, but you're telling us that we're not out here fighting for women's rights. Okay, fine. Like, whatever you want. Bernie Gannon, the lack of immigration control was seen by Democrats as a way to capture Latino votes, capitalizing on psychology and perceived discrimination. Yeah, sure. Yeah. They just assumed that, but they didn't take into account the Latinos that were already here, that already built a life here, that like want to do all the things. Yeah. they forgot about they forgot about freaking everybody. They really just did. And then the people that were supposed to vote for them were so separated, like just us. I've talked about this before. Our community, the LGBT, whatever, blah, blah, blah. We were fighting against each other nonstop. Like, there are pages dedicated to us fighting. So you split us up like 3 years ago. So you didn't have us on board. Like, you lost a lot.
Yeah.
And they didn't even realize it.
Yeah. What do y'all think, Kamala? How do you say your name?
Kamala.
Kamala. I like
just think of the word comma. That's how they, whatever.
Kamala. I keep saying Kamala.
That's fine.
What do y'all think she's going to do? Like, do you think she'll run for any other governmental office, or do you think she's just going to fall off the face of the earth in embarrassment?
I don't even think she's embarrassed. Like, that's how much I think that she felt like she was correct. She's not embarrassed. But no, I don't think she'll.
Well, she hasn't been seen anywhere, right?
I haven't seen her.
That's the thing. Like, the minute that she did her,
Kenneth likes the way you say it better.
Yeah,
I do too.
That's fine.
The minute that she did her speech, when he won, what's that called?
Yeah, her concession speech.
Thank you. Her concession speech. I feel like nobody has seen her. There hasn't been any posts about her. There hasn't been any sightings of her. No talk of her. It literally has just been what Biden's doing now and waiting for Trump to get into office. So it feels like back when she was just the VP, like she's just hiding out doing whatever she's doing.
She's doing what she did for the first 3.5 years.
I mean, that's what it looks like, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I just personally don't know. I mean, she's reached at least the pinnacle of like where you can race in politics, for a presidential spot. And so in my mind, she's gotten all the publicity she could probably want. And then now she'd be relegated to probably just, being attorney general somewhere or something else that maybe isn't as glamorous. And so I don't know why she would. Everyone knows who she is now, but I don't know.
She'll be fine. Her husband has that big pharma money. Well, he's got to use that big pharma money to pay off all the debts she has from running her campaign.
Wait, and isn't Kennedy supposed to be going after big pharma? So
somebody said something about
that money now.
Go back. Someone said something about RFK at the top. I did want to get
Bernie, I think.
Someone said
Kenneth.
The Democrats were going to try to get him back or something.
What about RFK of the Dems had accepted him? Yeah, I mean, he was never going to get there. From what I can tell and what I'm starting to learn as I peel back the layers of all of this is that Obama and big Democrats just kind of pick who they want because they didn't even have a primary, right? They didn't even let people pick who they wanted to represent them. So
they need a figurehead, someone that'll do everything that they say, and someone that's beholden to them. And RFK, I think, is an independent thinker for the most part. I don't think he would be controlled necessarily.
And I love that he and Trump are eating McDonald's on a plane. Like, I love that.
That
like,
was
let's
so
go.
Funny.
Let's go.
That was so funny.
I love it too.
Nutritionists were losing their mind. I don't know if you saw any of them, but they were losing their mind. He better not come in here talking about seed oils bad for you and now because he's eating McDonald's. I'm like, did he even eat the McDonald's or was it just a photo?
Picture. Yeah.
What is it? A photo bomb? You know what I mean?
even if he did, I love when, for example, the nutrition people I follow, I love when they come on and they're like, hey, I preach against not drinking alcohol a lot because it's not good for you. But I had 4 glasses last night at a party and I feel like crap today, but guess what? It's fine. Like, that's part of my life. Like, I'm like, thank you for being relatable. Like, you acknowledge that it's not good all the time, but that you do it every now and then. If RFK wants to eat a freaking cheeseburger once every 10 years, I could care less. You know,
well,
like,
check my story because I found the epitome of what it feels like listening to nutritional information on Instagram. It's this guy sitting at a table and he's got silverware and he has a bowl and there's nothing in it. And you just hear, he just pulls up videos of like, you can't eat that. You should eat this. Stay away from this. This is bad for you. And it literally, there's nothing on the plate and he's dumping, like shaking salt and there's nothing coming out because if you listen to all of this shit on social media, you can't eat anything. There's nothing. Stay away from cheese. Don't eat meat. Like, don't eat this. Like, oh my gosh. Like, it's so
it's terrible.
But it's so bad.
And I trust people more that are going to get on there and talk about the stuff that they might be doing that doesn't always align perfectly 100% of the time, and being honest and saying like, yeah, this is not 80% of what I do, but then also, you know, it's okay. Like, you're not going to die if you eat something with seed oils. You know, don't eat it all the time, but you can have it every now and then.
Listen, I do my best. My kid eats sunflower spread for lunch. That's the best I can do right now. And I take it for what he can. He does it during school. He maybe sometimes eats half of it and we keep it moving. Like, you gotta pick your battles over here. You do what you gotta do. So
at least we've gotten him to eat carrots. He eats carrots now. So we're happy about that.
I have to cut them in squares, Al. So I have to cut them in half and then I have to cut them in squares and he has to eat them one at a time.
Yeah.
Listen, my picky eater, I'll take it. One vegetable, fruits.
Tyler Watkins, don't be weird. Eat the fucking cake, John Wellborn.
Yes. Sweets all day.
This is scary, Bernie. If Pelosi is still relevant, the next Dem presidential candidate will be her nephew, Gavin Newsom. I did see him.
Did you see what he just put out?
No.
God, what
I did see him initially when he thought he was going to be Kamala. I did see him try to backtrack some of his shit a little bit, but that would be horrific if that was the case.
Hold on.
I'm not okay with that.
He's already ruined.
Yes, this one.
I did.
Hold on.
Okay, once she finds it, then I do. There's one more thing before we let you go, Mama. Mama Bear's got to go hibernate and
this.
Kamala.
California Department of Social Services forces foster parents to affirm gender identity of children.
Yeah, see.
With Prop 1, you can now be discriminated against for adoption if you do not choose to affirm a child's gender. Because in New York, our Prop 1 was passed.
For us, yeah.
For us. So that is include, it's like discrimination act or whatever, but they included age. So you can't discriminate for age, which is essentially saying that parents cannot challenge a child if they want to affirm themselves because of their age.
And once you start talking about taking away limits for children on age, that's some MAPS talk. That's when you start talking about that MAP shit. And
nope.
Not okay with that.
Yeah. I don't understand. Like, why is that the policy Gavin Newsom is most worried about? Like, why not just fix your homelessness problem or do some stuff to like help your state? Why are you so concerned with getting in the business of families and their kids? And
more money. You said it earlier. More money.
Yeah,
it's more money.
100%. It's just, man, that is so evil to me. It's just like a kid can't even get a tattoo, but you can sterilize them for the rest of their life. That's evil. That is just straight up evil.
Yeah,
like,
but you can't have that conversation because you say things like, can they get a tattoo? No. Can they start smoking cigarettes? No. Can they have a drink of alcohol? Absolutely not. Can they start driving? No. Can they go in the military? No. Well, can they get gender affirming care? Well, and like, how does that even stop you in your tracks? Like, this is a medical treatment that will change you
forever.
And you can't have that conversation.
And they're now forever on the treadmill of needing medication for their entire life. They're for the rest of their life, they're slave to the medical and pharmaceutical companies. So it's a lifetime client. Like, why would you not want a lifetime client?
Yeah.
Let me get this last one in here for you. Because this one I was kind of okay with. But that Gates guy he stepped down. Attorney
Gates.
General, right? Yeah.
Yeah, he's controversial. There's
I'm not mad about that. Like,
yeah.
I was on the fence about that anyway.
Yeah.
But I'm not mad about it. I think they could find someone with less stuff happening.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah. I listened to a few episodes on like Megyn Kelly, which honestly, is pretty center. Like she's not super right, even though some people might like say she is. So I like listening to her because she kind of has some views that are in the middle. And she was talking about Matt
like her
Gaetz.
too.
Yeah, I just think she's really level-headed. But she was talking about Matt Gaetz, and yeah, there's a lot of like scandal surrounding him. I don't know if it's true or not with the sex trafficking charges, but the one thing I did like about him is that, and this is Trump's doing this a lot, is he's picking people that have been victims of that system that they'll now be like representing. And you know, Matt Gaetz was attacked like pretty heavily by the DOJ, apart from the sex. Well, I think it was related to the sex trafficking stuff, but then like Tulsi Gabbard was put on the terrorist list, watch list, and even Trump himself, right, is like and so that is like the only thing I like did like, is it wasn't just this establishment person he picked for attorney general. But I'm not mad about that either. I think he could do much better. Pick someone that would.
I think he picked a chick. I forget. She's a Republican from.
He picked a girl. Another girl.
Yeah, I think so. She's a Republican. I think I saw that. Is her name Pam or something like that? I forget, but I'm pretty sure. Again, as Bernie,
Pam, Bondi,
as Bernie would say, is it's good. It's another good-looking chick that is gonna like. That's a Republican from.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, so that'll be good. She
Pam
can
Bondi for attorney general.
Yeah, she can. Her and Tulsi can.
Yeah. Like, is that the first female attorney general, or am I wrong on that?
I don't know. I've started to read up about her, but I haven't read too much. But so far, it's better than having whatever is linked to Gaetz linked.
Yeah, that's not worth it. Like if it's something that down the road he could get, you know, booted out for and cause all this drama, just don't do it.
Yeah.
Janet Reno.
What?
Huh. I haven't heard of her.
July. This was back.
Oh yeah, Janet Reno. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I got
was
you.
an American lawyer and public official who served as the first female and 78th United States Attorney General. So she was the first.
My grandpa was like, "What the fuck?" No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. What
the fuck? Yeah, I think that was a good move. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh no, there's a couple of them. It looks like. These are of states. Never mind. My bad. These are states.
Why can't male politicians just be faithful to their wives? I'm sorry, but man,
like girl, preacher girl.
You want them to just be regular straights?
Keep it in your pants. Like, why do you have to? Every single person, even ones that like I really like, I'm like, could you not have just a little self-control, like, and be happily married? Is that too much to ask? Like,
nope. Sorry. You listen.
You are preaching from a very happy marriage.
Yeah. Well, and like, even if it's not a happy marriage, like go date someone else that you like. Don't just go around and mess with 17-year-olds. Like, just be
yes, absolutely.
Or like just pick somebody of age, bro. Like it's fine. You want to cheat on your wife? We've established in this country that it's fine to do that. We had Clinton, we had Kennedy, we had fine, whatever. Knock yourself out. Can they just be, over 25? Can I get over 25? Like that's all I'm asking for.
I mean, you're in your even 60s. Let's
Yeah.
But that Pete Hegseth guy, I actually really like him, but he's had his own fair share of scandals and all this stuff, and it's just like, we were down at the bar,
4 wives and a bunch
of
kids.
He got like 4 baby mamas, but I laughed so hard when they talked shit, when the liberals started talking shit about that, because I was like, don't y'all have like 4 baby mamas? I know my dad has like 5 baby mamas, so like, you want me to be mad that he's got? I love all my half sisters. What's the problem? Like,
I mean, I'm more of like, don't just go around like cheating. Like, if you want to be married 4 times, at least you're like being married. I don't know, maybe that's a weird stance, but Pete Hegseth, I think it was like slept with someone that like worked for him and stuff, and I'm just like, y'all stop creating all of these potential problems for yourself down the road. But
hey, if my dad didn't have baby mamas, I wouldn't be here because I'm number 3. So like, I'm okay with it. I'm fine with it. We're good.
Oh my gosh.
That's
Just
real
don't.
quick before you go, do you and your husband share a lot of the same views, or are there like a couple things where you guys not bicker but
Good for
like
you,
have
Wooly.
different opinions on stuff?
So when we first started dating, we were very different in terms of just a few areas. He was actually like, I'm a Christian and he was an atheist when we first met. And then we actually didn't date until he became a Christian, not for me, but then we started aligning a lot more on more of just like the moral issues, not necessarily just political stuff, but the moral issues that have become political now. But we weren't always there. And it was cool to be able to talk to someone who was really open-minded in a good way, just willing to challenge their own beliefs. And I've told you all this on air before, but that's why I reached out to Garrett that one time when I just heard you on Savon's podcast, because I just have always had a lot of respect for people that are willing to like change their own beliefs, and or at least just consider that they might be wrong. And I saw that in you, and I saw that in Sean, and I was like, you know what, we don't have to agree on everything right now, but I know that we could always, if something comes up, because you're going to disagree on, even if you agree on everything, something's going to come up later that you disagree on. I was like, I have so much confidence in the fact that we could sit down eye to eye and have a conversation where I hear you out, you hear me out. And it's not this wall immediately goes up, and we don't have to agree on everything. If we can do that, then we don't have to agree on everything, and we'll be okay. And it's been the case where we both had to change our minds on a lot of things throughout the course of 6 years that we've been married. But there was never something that became so problematic because we couldn't have an intelligent conversation about it. And so
that's awesome.
Yeah.
Girl, I am so pumped for you. I'm so
I'm
excited.
so
I'm over here just
excited.
like, I can't wait, dude.
Yeah.
Y'all are awesome. I was like, I want to tell you guys, I'm not like a picture taker or anything, so we haven't done pictures or anything, but I was like, I just want to tell them. I don't have to announce it on Instagram right now. But
did you get the little baby picture where it looks like a gummy bear?
Yes,
like gummy bear.
Yeah, our first ultrasound was like 6 weeks, and so it was just so tiny. But we're going next week for oh my gosh, what's it called when it's on top of the stomach? Not, or like sonogram.
Sonogram.
Yeah. So it'll be bigger this time.
You don't have to tell us. Do you know? And if you don't know, do you want to know?
I don't know, and I actually kind of forgot that they do these early gender tests that you can order.
Yes.
Kind of expensive.
Blood work.
Like the blood work that you send it off. I'm not doing genetic testing, so I'll probably just order one of those and find out. But I definitely want to know. I don't want to wait.
You're so excited.
I
do too.
Why did you decide to not do the genetic testing?
For me personally, I don't know why I would do it, because it wouldn't change whatever they find. It wouldn't change anything about how I proceed with the pregnancy. And so, and I get why some people might, for reasons of like, oh, I would just mentally like want to prepare myself if something came up. But for me, I'm like, I'm not, whatever our baby comes out as, healthy, or if they have any type of like condition or anything, I don't have to know that early. We just deal with it and are grateful we have a baby. So for me, I don't really see a point in doing genetic testing. So
really lean on your faith in that, huh? Like that it is what it is, and it's a blessing no matter what.
See, that's why we don't get worried about too much. Like that's the thing. Like, do you ever look at like all the reaction videos that came out after the election with people screaming and flipping out and whatever? And it's just like, whatever it's gonna be, it's gonna be. You have to like deal with it as it comes. It's not. And that comes from faith. That comes from a type of faith that is just it's going to be all right. Whatever it is, we'll figure it out.
100%. And like, it doesn't mean that it's going to be easy. Like if our baby has Down syndrome or something, like that doesn't make it easy, but it makes it it's just this beautiful new part of our life that, that's something that I truly believe happens. It would happen for a reason. And I know that's super cliche, but it's just like, I don't need to know that 6 months in advance. Like I can find out right then and go day by day. I mean, I feel like you're going to have to do that with things in life you can't control. And it's just.
Yeah. Garrett didn't get his diagnosis until he was like 3.5, 4.
Yeah.
So
his
autism diagnosis
didn't come until he was like 5.5 or 6 or something like
that.
It was later.
We didn't even know. So
yeah. And it's like, I mean, you would I mean, you guys are incredible parents and y'all have a beautiful son. And it's like, what would you change? I mean, like in the sense of like, if you knew that 6 months earlier, like, you know, it's just like, I mean, I'm sure that doesn't make it easy, but it's just like,
I get it.
I mean, you get to have those feelings of like, you know, I mean, I had a lot of guilt when he first got diagnosed with autism or whatever, but that's my own personal stuff. You know what I mean? Like, so you have feelings and sadness of like, some things in this world are going to be even harder for him to navigate. But instead of living in that mindset, what we get to live in with him as his parents is that we get to prepare him for and lean into what he needs and getting him the support that he needs versus where I spent most of my time in the beginning of his diagnosis, where I spent it over there being upset with myself or that I'm not a good mom and everything like that, until you wake up one day and I'm like, okay, what is that doing? Nothing. It's not doing anything. I need to be there for him. I need to get him all the things that he needs, and we get to move. It's all good.
It's not about us. It's about him.
Yeah.
And so many people can't get into that mind frame. Like, it's like, hey, dude, today it might just not be about you.
Yeah.
No one's talking about you. No one's thinking about it. No one can't go do whatever you're going to go do. It's not about you today.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's half the reason people aren't having kids anymore. I mean, most people are just, abortion, it's all about me, it's about an inconvenience to my life, or you know, I don't ever want kids in general just because my life will be a little bit less about me. And like, I'm not saying that's everyone who doesn't want kids, but I just think that there's a trickle down effect if you're not careful of just this me centered environment on everything. It's like, well, what happens when you have kids and there's stuff that like you have to focus on them, you know? It's just,
listen, that is literally what the bad part of what social media has created is self-absorbing people that only care about themselves, and not in a way of being selfish to be good, to take care of yourself, to be better. You know what I mean? Like, it's literally, I'm going to be selfish because it literally is all about me. And I truly believe that social media
social media is ridiculous.
Maybe not been the light, but it's definitely the gasoline that constantly gets poured on it. So
100%.
Well, I often consider that I'm wrong, even though I know it's not possible. Bernie Yennon, I'm surprised they haven't moved to make gender testing illegal. It's up to the baby to decide now, right?
That's a great point.
Good point, Bernie. That's why we keep you around.
Love you, bro.
He's our fact checker. He gives us all the facts.
Smartest man we know.
Yep.
Yeah, that's a great point. That's a great point.
It's a great point. Absolutely.
But yeah, girl, thank you for coming to hang out. We've missed you so much.
I know.
But I'm so happy to hear that you're feeling good and you're got that mama glow. And
I know.
I don't think I do yet, but maybe it'll come soon. But y'all are awesome.
You do.
You do. We don't feel like we do because we're like, oh my God, what is happening to us?
Yeah.
But you look great. You look great.
You look amazing.
We're so happy for you. And thank you for giving us, like, sharing with us so that we could celebrate with you. It's amazing.
Y'all were the best reaction. Yeah, it was so worth it. So, no, thank you guys so much. I'll probably hit you up, Colleen, if I have any questions.
Anytime, babe. Anytime.
So,
anytime.
I'll definitely for Jan 6. We can like plot on Jan 6. See how you're feeling.
Oh my gosh.
When do you do? Huh? When are you?
June 11th.
Okay.
Awesome.
Okay.
Super cool.
All right.
Yeah. So during the Alabama summers at like 30 weeks pregnant in a CrossFit gym will be fun. But
you're like, great, let's do it in June. Why not? Right?
Yeah. Hey, it'll work out. It'll make me better. But you guys are awesome. Thank y'all for having me on again.
So. Always.
Absolutely. We'll hit you up soon. Please give hubby all of our love and support.
I will.
And if he needs anything, he can hit me up. I'm here.
Yes. He probably will. Thank you guys.
All right, guys. Thanks for hanging out with us, everybody. We love you. Yes, Ellie is always going to be a regular on here.
Always. She's always welcome to come. Even if she was like, hey, can I come hang out with you guys? The answer is always yes.
So
the answer is always yes.
That's fire.
All right, guys. We'll see you soon.
Y'all.
Bye.
Deuces.